Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ripley and today we are building for Lilsimsie's Spooky Shell Challenge that she put out. Was it a week ago? Maybe it was longer, but I finally got it this weekend and we are building in Forgotten Hollow. Is that the Sims 4 name? I'm always like, is it Midnight Hollow? But I think Midnight Hollow was Sims 3. If I'm not completely wrong, I think it's Forgotten Hollow in Sims 4. And today we're building this kind of vampire Gothic-inspired home. Of course it wasn't a requirement to do like a spooky home for a spooky challenge, but I thought that, well, I never really built in this style, and with Halloween coming up and everything, I don't know, is Halloween this weekend or is it next weekend? I think it's next weekend, but we are really close to it, so I thought, well. And last week I also did a spellcaster home, and I did talk about how I wanted to do more like occult homes now that we're in Halloween season. So I thought that our vampire home would like check off all the boxes for the Spooky Shell Challenge, for building something different, for doing some occult stuff for Halloween. So I thought that they would fit really well. So this, I call it a mansion, but it actually is like a 2-bedroom home. We have a master bedroom and then we have a nursery, which I usually don't build, but I thought that, well, I thought it kind of fit the vibe for some reason that we would have a nursery. I don't know why, but I really liked the idea, so we did that. And then I also added this little house in the back of the lot, which is a greenhouse where we're gonna have a lot of plants. And I did kind of love the idea that someone that's dead, of course a vampire is dead, would love the idea of keeping things alive, like plants are very much alive. And that's also why I did the landscaping so like luscious and green, which a lot of the time when you build in Forgotten Hollow, I think that you would go more for the dead plants, dead everything, because it is the vampire world. And I do have this little graveyard area in the back which has all the dead plants. Like I would imagine that because for some reason, because we have the graveyard there, nothing actually grows, so everything back there is dead, but everywhere else is very luscious and green. And I would imagine that the vampire that lives here does tend to the garden quite a lot and does have this fascination with living things, because they will never be alive again, they will always be dead. So we do have a big beautiful greenhouse up there. But now as you can see, I'm just throwing in like a shit ton of plants. I didn't really have a plan for the landscaping. I just kind of threw in a little plants here and there, and just it kind of became something. And I'm not mad at it. It's kind of messy, but I like the messy look, and I think it goes together really well. And then lastly, I'm adding in the trees. I think that adding in the trees last is kind of a must, because otherwise I would go crazy. You can see anything under the trees, so the trees go last. But now we're working on this dead part, as you can see. I also did add vines all over the house, and all over the house we have this beautiful green vines with some red vines as well, which I thought really went well together. But in the back here, all the vines are dead. We have some red vines back here that somehow has managed to survive. Maybe they will die eventually, but right now they have their willpower to be alive around all this dead stuff. But mainly we had only the dead vines and the dead trees and the dead like landscaping over there, and then later on we're gonna do the little graveyard as well. And in the front here we have 2 plazas. We have a small one on the left side where you can paint and stuff, and on the right side we have this kind of checkboard, it's not called a checkboard, a chessboard inspired plaza, where we have this big beautiful fountain and 2 chessboards on either side. I also use these lamps. It's called a peasant in English, and the horse, a little chess piece. I don't know what you call them in English, but we have those lights that came with, God, I want to say they came with like, oh, what is this pack called? The one that came with the hot tub, outside luxury, I don't know. The pack that came with the hot tub is where those are from, I'm pretty sure. I just can't remember what it's called right now. And then we have this fountain up here as well, But I kind of wanted to do this overgrown look, so I added a lot of plants to this fountain, and I really like how that looked. And I really like the kind of like luscious, letting things live in there. On one side maybe it will be pretty to not have anything there, but I think that I really like how things ended up looking with that little like overgrown. Maybe it used to be a fountain, but now it's turned into a plant, and we have a lot of plants in there instead. I also added a little like fairy statue on that fountain, and I think it ended up looking really pretty. We do have some statues a little bit here and there. We have some gargoyles at the front gate, and then we have that kind of woman in the smaller plaza, and then of course the fairy as well. Now we're working on this little graveyard where we have 3 graves. I can imagine that they are vampire graves, or maybe somehow related to the vampires that live here. We also have that little animal grave, which I thought was so sad. It's a little dog grave, I think. But it will be kind of cute that they have buried their pet as well, because the pets are never immortal, they always end up dying. So you just have another place for the pet with that little flower pot next to it as well. Working now on the greenhouse, I really wanted to focus on having a lot of like plants and a lot of like flower bouquets in here. Do we call it a bouquet in English as well? I think so. And we do have the flower arranging table in here, which pretty much is the only functional thing. We do have some planters here as well. But I really just wanted to do this, have this kind of overfilled, like, it's kind of messy. It's plants and flowers everywhere, and a lot of like shelving and stuff, which seems to work. Of course, they don't use anything of this. This is just decorational, but just kind of having this kind of like overfilled greenhouse, I guess. I don't think overfilled is the right word, but that's the only thing that comes to mind right now. And with this build, I also got to use a lot of like wall lamps and lamps to stand on the floor, because usually in my builds I use spotlights, which is really handy, really easy, but they don't really add much to the build. They're only there for the light, while when you use like wall lamps or floor lamps or that kind of stuff, they kind of add to the detail and add to the like decoration of the room, which I thought looks really nice, especially for this type of build. And then I added in a shit ton of planters in here as well, which seems to plant. I do end up covering most of them up, so I don't know how many are accessible, but they're there if you wanna take them out. And we did also get a lot of new swatches for that planter with the new swatch update, but somehow I still think I managed to use the 3 default ones that we already have completely on accident, because we have like, I don't know, I think it's like 20 swatches, and I just randomly chose 3, but I think I chose the 3 that we already have somehow, which is really weird. And now we're just doing this table over here, which is gonna be filled with different types of plants, and I have a lot of different tables around here. I wanted to have it kind of like different levels, different heights of the tables, just to make it a little bit more visually interesting. But now I'm just trying to clutter up as much as we possibly can. I was really surprised at how many like slots that table had. That table is for cats and dogs, and for the little planters we had like, I didn't have to use move objects for any of them. I just placed them in and they worked really well. And moving on to the interior. Moving on to the interior, this kitchen is the only room that's on like a diagonal, except for the bathroom upstairs. But the bathroom was fine, whilst this kitchen was a little tricky to do, because I kind of had to puzzle it together in a way that I usually don't have to, because it's on a diagonal. Of course, these pieces are not, the kitchen pieces are never made to be on a diagonal, which is so stupid. Like they let us do it, but they don't have it in mind when they actually do the pieces. Like for example, like windows on diagonals usually stretch so they fit, but the kitchen items doesn't. So, and I kind of understand why, but that makes them not always fit very nicely. So it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of overlapping, but I did eventually get a kitchen that I liked. And And I did also use a lot of packs. I didn't use as many packs as I thought I did, but I did use a lot of packs. And I thought, well, I usually limit myself, but because this was for Lilsimsie and she of course has every single pack, I thought that for once I would just build without like thinking about, oh, have I used this from this pack? Should I use something else? Should I limit myself? It was nice to just kinda go for it and not have to think about anything else. However, something that I did think about is we didn't really have any nice curtains for this style. I did eventually end up using the paranormal ones, which are kinda nice, but otherwise we have only the base game ones, which I said this before, but I hate all the base game curtains. There are some curtains that are more usable now with the Swatch update, but the ones that were in this kind of style I was looking for did not have like a Swatch update, which I thought was very stupid because I hate those curtains. On the other side, I don't know if those curtains will look nice either way, but I did have to use them, and I think that I don't really like them. I don't really like them, but I have to use them, so that is what it is. Like I said, I did end up switching to the paranormal curtains in the rest of the build, so it's not the end of the world, it's fine. Like, here are the curtains I'm talking about that I don't like, and if you like them, of course that's fine. I mean, don't feel like bad because I don't like them. We all have different styles, and if you love them, then that's amazing, but I don't. It's just not my style. And I mean, I'm complaining about these curtains a lot, but like I've never been in this style, so they don't really affect me too much. It's usually when I do these stylized homes that I have to use these curtains, and then with the base game homes I tend to prefer to not use any curtains because I don't like the curtains that they have. So it's kind of like, it's not a big deal actually. And then we move on to the living room, which is kind of like a small space. The room's stash ends up being quite small, but I think I still really like the layout and how it came out. And in the living room, we don't actually have a TV, we just have that fireplace, and it's quite a simple. I think that this house in the big hall is quite simply decorated. It's not too much clutter, which I really liked for this home. But like I said, we also don't have a TV, we don't have a computer either, so this house is completely technology free. Of course, there always is space for you to add it in if you would need them, but I just thought with the style and with this kind of vampires living here, they might, even though they might live in the 21st century, they are still like, I don't know, like 19th century vampires that don't really understand technology maybe. But like I said, there's space above the fireplace, the TV, there's a desk in the library where you can add the computer if you want to, so those things are available for you to do, but I thought that I would leave them out because this is like this vampire type home. Moving on to the library area, I used these Realm of Magic bookcases, which I really like. I think they look really pretty. We also have that organ in here for your Sims to play and just kind of have like a chill like concert or session for your other vampires. We also had this little like armchair, 2 armchairs and not a desk, and a table for your Sims to sit and read. And then we also have that paranormal desk, which I think looks really nice in here. Here you can also add your computer if you would like to, but like I said, it's a vampire home, so I didn't think that we should have any technology. Those bookcases are still functional. At least one of them are, or 1 or 2 of them are functional, even though we have the desk in front of them. So your Sims can still get books out of one of them. And then we also have bookcases upstairs. I think that the master bedroom has a bookcase, and the hallway upstairs has a bookcase as well, so no worries there. Then I'm just adding in some plants in here, some extra details. I did put in rugs in most of the rooms, which I thought, well, it's kind of a shame that we cover up this kind of beautiful flooring, because this flooring is definitely there to be shown, but at the same time for me I always feel like a room is all finished without a rug. So I guess And I do like the rugs in the rooms, like don't get me wrong, but it's kind of a shame to cover up the flooring. Moving up to the master bedroom, I did kind of struggle with this room to figure out what I wanted to have in here. This is quite a large master bedroom, and this bedroom also has access to both of the balconies. So kind of figuring out how the wall space worked and how the furnishing was gonna fit in nicely. That's kind of tricky because they had a lot of the walls were like covered by doors and windows and that kind of stuff. The master bedroom also has an ensuite. So this house has 2 bathrooms where we have a full bathroom downstairs and a full bathroom upstairs, but the upstairs bathroom is the ensuite. So if you have a sim living in the nursery, when they grow up, they will have to use the downstairs bathroom. Which is not a big deal because it is a full bathroom, so it's fine, right? I do hope so. But then I'm just adding in the last few details in here. Adding in some pictures and some... I didn't add a rug in here because of that flooring. Like I said, I think that flooring is kind of centerpiece. Using both vampire flooring here, the detailed one is vampires, and the diagonal flooring is also vampires. And I thought that in the master bedroom it would look nice to have that extra little detail. And now we are moving on to the nursery, which I thought ended up looking really cute. I did add in that castle dollhouse because I thought that, well, vampires are old, castles are old, which is kind of a stupid reason probably. And this room is a little bit more like brought into the 21st century, mainly with those like bookcases and some of the like more like, I guess, more modern furniture styles. Because I do imagine that these vampires do live in the 21st century, even if they are like 19th century vampires, because their baby will of course be a 21st century vampire or non-vampire, depending on... Yeah, they will probably be a vampire too, but like, the point is they kind of modernized this room for the baby's sake. And I thought that this room ended up looking really cute. I do really like doing nurseries, even though I guess they're not that useful with the babies being in the crib all the time. But it is what it is, right? I think it ended up looking really cute regardless. But with that said, we're about to jump into the tour, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Ripley out.